Hello! It's been like over 2 weeks since I've uploaded, and the reason for that was really just because I want to take a break, take the Christmas holiday just to do whatever I want to do. If I want to do schoolwork, I'd do that. If I wanted to work on a video, I could do that. And I did spend the time working on a video that'll be coming out soon. It's a 2016 montage of the film, so I was going to try and tease it, but whatever, well, I'll tell you anyway. Could have took an opportunity to just create loads of content, but some videos just couldn't happen. Like the top 10s of the years, the most anticipated one, which I'm going to work on soon, but I couldn't create them because I haven't seen all the movies of the year. I mean, La La Land comes out in the UK in like a week, and I can't explain my excitement for that movie. And like Moonlight and Manchester by the Sea, those are the three heavy hitters that I haven't seen. But anyway, this video isn't directed at movies. It's just a year in review, really. I'm a little late. It's like the 2nd of January when I'm recording this. It'll probably be the 3rd or the 4th, considering how lazy I will be to do this. I'm honest. I'm being honest. I'm lazy a lot. And it's not for the reason you may think. There's a lot going on in my mind, which I will bring up in this video, but it can be tough trying to do things whenever you're thinking of a million things at once. I want to talk about 2016. 2016 was a crazy year. It's been a hard year. Not a bad year, just a hard year. It's probably been the hardest year of my life. And there's a lot of reasons going into that. I mean, within the span of March and April, I developed vertigo and anxiety. And I only fully understood that it was anxiety until August. So it was weird to me. It's been crazy. The year has been crazy. It's extremely formative to find those things out and to understand what's going on. I mean, I go to therapy now, and you see therapy in movies, and you're like, oh, that person's probably a little crazy. And now I'm in that position, and I'm probably a little crazy. I'm a little weird, but it sort of opens your eyes to other people's positions and how you can sort of relate with some people and how your perception changes, I guess. I mean, I'll say this, and back in 2014, I was dealing with, well, I've always been quite an anxious person. I always find something to be worried about, always. It's always something to be worried about. And mine was eyesight. To be able to see sweeping vistas and people, it means a lot to me. And my mum is registered blind, and there was a chance that I could lose my sight, and it was something that really, it made me, for one thing, very worried. Of course, I mean, the idea of losing your sight, that's crazy. And by the way, I figured out, I'm pretty sure I'm fine. I hope that everything is fine, but it did tell me how much to appreciate life and the people around you and the world you live in, because we constantly will look at the clouds or something like that. We'll look at the moon, the sun rising, and we'll look out and go, that's nice. Or we'll just look at it and continue with our day on our phone, on our computer, just consumed in whatever we're doing, and we don't really spend as much time to take in the world and how naturally beautiful it is, and not this man-made everything. Like everything here, it's all man-made. And out there is a different situation. And being able to just, look and experience is something that just since maybe 2014, 2013, I started doing more. And it was because of that experience with my sight that I was able to open my mind up to appreciating more. And with the vertigo and anxiety, it has made me appreciate life more and people more, and being able to be in a position where I'm a little better off than someone else. And beyond appreciation, it's made me understand that the human mind is really crazy. And the ears and things like that. I mean, vertigo is to do with your ears, and how I'll be lying down and some days I'll be really dizzy. And it did go away in late June. It started coming back here and there. I mean, whenever I'm on the ground, say I lie down and then jump up, it'll be there, and for like 30 seconds I'll be a little dizzy. So it's not as bad as it used to be, because medication helped that. And it's one of those situations where I'm like, I'm glad medication was involved, because it definitely, I couldn't have done stuff without it. It would have been extremely hard to do day-to-day tasks if I had to deal with that. But then there's the anxiety. I'm starting through the therapy and just understanding me as a person, spending time, understanding myself. I've been able to overcome it in some ways. I'm not there yet, and there's nowhere near overcoming it. I mean, I'll be in the movies and I'll just get like anxious and I'll feel that anxiety burn up inside and it'll feel like leaving. But I stay because I've understood that it's just in my head, and I need to understand that I need to get through it. That I can't spend my whole life running. That sometimes you just gotta stand your ground. And it's not as easy as that. It isn't. I mean, if you deal with it, you'll understand. But for me, it was about understanding that I can't live a functional life like that. That I have to move off from that. And that's one of those big things that I want to achieve in 2017, is to overcome this anxiety, which is, you can't explain how huge of a thing it is to be able to overcome something like that. You're trying to trick your own mind. So pretty much, yeah, it's been hard. It's been a hard year, and dealing with that anxiety, it's been terrible in some situations. I am not going to sugarcoat it. I've had terrible days, but there has been good things that have happened in this year. For one thing, I've lost so much weight, and you probably noticed that. I mean, if you look at a video from September of 2015 and now, in 2015, I was 4 stone heavier than I am today. And that was a huge goal for me. I'm not the type of person who makes resolutions in the new year. I just make resolutions really whenever. And in September, I made the resolution that I wanted to, by June, I think it was by June, whenever I went to Florida, I wanted to lose the weight that had been holding me down. And I did. I still have so much to go. I still want to tone up and things like that, but I lost the weight. It's such a big goal for me because over the past maybe 5 years, I had been dealing with that weight. I mean, I was pretty thin as a kid, and then I got to that age, and I just put on. I didn't realize how big I was until I looked at the before and after. And one thing I can say for people who are thinking it's going to be a horrible thing trying to lose this weight, it isn't. It is much easier than some people make it out to be. I mean, maybe if you're a little bit heavier than I was, it could be a lot harder than that. And physically what you're like. I mean, do you have asthma? Do you have any other medical conditions that could stop you from, or debilitate you from, being able to exercise or eat the right foods? For me, I didn't really eat the right foods. I just cut down on foods. Really, I still ate pizza. I still ate terrible foods. But my dad's a chef, so at the same time, I was able to get some of those good foods every once in a while. But even if I did eat some bad foods with a lot of fat in them, with high calories, things like that, I still was getting my exercise in. I was working out 3 days a week, sometimes 4 or 5 days a week. And one added thing that I always say whenever I talk to people about it, green tea. It actually helps. And that was my main goal for 2016. I was like, this is what I want to accomplish. I had a book goal. I didn't reach it. I just didn't have the time. Plus, with all this OCD and my obsessive thoughts and how there's so much going on in my mind, I wasn't able to really accomplish reading. I read a few books, but I didn't read as many as I should have. Should have's a word. It's not what I wanted, really. I had a goal, and I went crazy under that goal. But when you have so much going on in your head, you'll find it's quite hard to read and get yourself in a story when all these other things are poking at you. But anyway, we're talking about the positives. We're not talking about negatives. In 2016, I made new friends, and friends that I actually hold close now. Reunited with older friends, and now I'm closer with them. I finished up another year at school, which, it's like another year, but I met new people. I became closer with people, and it's been, in that way, great. Because I really like school, and mainly for the social aspect, because I get to see my friends on a daily basis. And outside of school, that probably wouldn't happen. And it's something I'm going to miss this year. It's missing friends are going to leave, and I'll still have some of my friends, but I'll lose that daily conversation I have with a lot of my friends next year. I mean, it sucks. It really sucks when I think about it. I just, I want to be able to talk to them every day like I usually do. Guess I just gotta appreciate it while it lasts. Then over the summer I went to Florida, and I've been before, so some of the things I recognized and some of the things I didn't, because, things change, and I loved it. I really loved the trip. That was also a trip. I met new people. I usually meet new people whenever I go on trips, but it's great to be able to meet people that you can really relate with. But beyond meeting people in Florida, I was also able to just experience Florida. I mean, the theme parks and some of the places outside of that, it was really cool to just sort of experience somewhere else. Because when I was 7, when I went to Florida, it's a different experience. And trying to grasp on the memories that were 10 years ago is quite hard. They give me a lot of stories to tell. I can't say them here, but just because, they're not really relevant to the video, but there's a lot of that happened then, and I really enjoyed being there and the experience things and actually have stuff to say about it after when I came home. And also I was able to make a video out of it. I mean, probably my favorite video I've ever made. I showed it to my family over Christmas, and that was really cool because they all really liked it, and they obviously had to say that it was good, but it was kind of an interesting experience to, see my whole family gathered around the TV watching it. It was kind of cool. And beyond that, a lot happened in my year, and it was an interesting year. I mean, whenever you look at the landscape of the world, I mean, everything that's been happening, like in the Middle East, and not just the Middle East, the terrorist attacks. I mean, it's crazy what's been happening. It's been really hard. I mean, the news has really been dominated by really dark subjects, and what can you do when such bad things are happening? I mean, the whole thing with that nightclub in Florida happened, I think, 2 weeks before we went, and that was hard. That was really sad. Then obviously the US presidential election, which left America very divided, and America was already divided, like everywhere, really. I mean, we all have our opinions, but it just seems like America's in kind of a broken situation right now. And then for the UK, there was Brexit. I mean, I was one of those people who I wasn't able to vote when we were able to vote, but I told my mom to vote stay, and that kind of seems like it would have been the better decision the way we're going. But I'm an optimist, so I believe that there is still hope for the economy and the country overall. I mean, things aren't exactly in a bad situation, but at the same time, there were some great things that happened this year. I mean, you look at animals, for example. I mean, the panda bear is now out of the realm of being in the endangered species list. It has been saved in that aspect, which brings a lot of hope to animals that are in that list still. And that was just so cool to hear in a year that's been quite dark. I mean, I can be very vocal in some ways to the world and how this planet's treated. I mean, when I watch Planet Earth 2, blown away. And when I haven't watched the Leonardo DiCaprio documentary on the world and climate change and things like that, but we really need to make a change. It's just common sense. I mean, obviously money's a big part into why they're doing this. It's the only part of why they're doing this, really. I mean, with all the oil mining, like fracking and stuff, it's bad. It's not good for the planet. And yet people still do it. I mean, deforestation, you're making this world smaller and smaller. And when you do all that stuff, it ends up killing off animals, it harms the ecosystem. But I'm not going to go any further than that. That's just my opinion. But also another great thing, I mean, there's been great things that happened this year. I'm mentioning 2, but there has been plenty of stuff that just pushed away, I guess, because of all the bigger news that's happening. But with the Dakota Access Pipeline, protests winning. I mean, not completely yet. That there's probably going to still be some stuff happening there, but it shows how protests can really bring about change, like in the past. And beyond those sorts of things in the world that were great, there's also music. I mean, music is everything to me. It is a fundamental part of my existence. Without it, I don't know what I'd do. And 2016 was great for music. You had people like Chance the Rapper releasing their new album, and That album, wow, it's so good. It's so good. And then you have Frank Ocean, who probably made the best album of the year from me. I mean, those two albums are my favorite albums of the year, but Blonde was a brilliant album. And then you have, David Bowie with his album came out. I mean, Kendrick Lamar came out with that album. Then I was introduced just a few weeks ago to Danny Brown, and he is a very different artist. He does things that I haven't really heard in rap, at least sampling wise, and instrumentals. It just sounds very different in the way he's able to rap over those sounds. I love it. It's different. And then J. Cole, and then Lupe Fiasco like 2 weeks ago announced that he's releasing an album in February. So, my excitement has been there. But also I've been talking about these sort of rappers, and obviously Frank Ocean is more of the pop scene, but there's also Bon Iver. Bon Iver, I kind of say Bon Iver, but it's probably Bon Iver. It sounds a little more fluent, I don't know. But his new album came out, and then a different artist that I listen to that is probably my favorite artist, Adam Young. He released a score soundtrack every month of the year. I think since February till December, which was crazy because the music was great. And through each month he had a theme. It was like, one of them would be the Titanic, one of them would be the Spirit of St. Louis, Voyager 1, the building of Mount Rushmore. It's so interesting the way he built a story within his music. And I was just really happy to have an artist who, the first of every month I could just go and, have a new piece of music. But also I've been listening to older music and catching up with some of the artists that I may have listened to a few songs of, but didn't really get into the whole thing, because that's what I usually do. I end up listening to everything they've ever done. So while I can't go, it was a great year, I found it to be a pretty good year. Things could have been worse. So yeah, let's look forward to 2017. A lot could happen. It's a mystery. We'll see what happens. So, I'll see you later. Bye.